Welcome to the Get Your Act Together podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Reynolds, and this week I'm coming to you from my greenhouse. If you are watching this on the YouTube channel, you will see all the pretty seedlings in the background here. We are getting ready for spring here and getting all the veggies planted. I was going to record a podcast this week on self-care and how people give you a really hard time that you're lazy once you start actually taking care of yourself. But I decided I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to take a week off. My son is home on spring break, and as you can see from this, there is a ton to do in the garden. So I'm going to take this week off, and we are going to rebroadcast an episode that I love, episode 85 with Jenni Davis. I thought it was really timely since this is the last week to file your taxes for 2023. So I hope you're on that. This episode is about profit first, knowing your numbers, paying yourself, which is super important when you have a business and not just a hobby. She mentions her program Profit First Simplified in this episode, which is still available, and the link is in the show notes if you want to learn more about Profit First. I hope you enjoy. So Jenni, tell the nice people a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, I'm Jenni Davis. I'm the owner of J&B Business Solutions. And what we do here is we help service-based business owners manage the daily financials in their business. And we use specialized tools such as the Profit First method, which is what we're going to be talking about today.
So exciting. So I will admit I have the book. I read part of it. I do that part of it, and I love it. So even if you get the first part, it still works really great. So for all of those people who have never heard of Profit First or have heard it, but its numbers and that's scary, can you just give us a little intro as to what it is?
Yes. So Profit First has been on the scene for a while. It came out in 2014. Mike Michalowicz wrote the book Profit First. And it kind of went crazy because what it did was it started to focus on the needs of the business owner. Most times in business, we all know, we're taught, make money, earn money, pay your bills. What's left is your profit, your compensation. And Profit First comes in and flips the script and says, this isn't how this works. What we're going to do is we're going to make money. We're going to make sure that you're making money, and we're going to take your profit first. And then we're going to manage the operations of your business on what's left over. And we use the system much like our grandparents did with the envelope system, where we get our money and we allocate certain dollars into each envelope. And once those dollars are gone, we stop spending. And so in a nutshell, that's what Profit First is. But what it's really done is it's educated business owners that you're valuable, that you need to take compensation, that compensation not only includes a paycheck, but it includes bonus and it includes your tax liability. No longer are you as a business owner having to take out of your personal funds money to pay Uncle Sam. And it's about that time right now, right?
Oh, yeah.
We're all writing those checks right now. But with the Profit First method, you don't have that stress because the money that's the nest egg. It's put away for you. You write the check. If there's anything left over, which a lot of times there are, you get another bonus. So it kind of just turns that whole accounting situation around, and it really has changed lives.
I wholly agree. I have my account set up every once a month. I move things over. I don't know if that's the right way or not. But at the end of the month, I kind of tally everything up and move things over. And then I know that my paycheck, I pay myself out of the income account or the owner's comp account. So it's automated. I get paid. And then, my mortgage is paid and it's fantastic. And then also being able to write a check for the taxes without thinking about it, without going, crap.
Yeah.
Do I have the money to cover this? You know what I mean? Having everything where it's supposed to be and just knowing it's covered is an enormous, enormous weight off of me all the time.
Right. I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. It really changes your money mindset. It's that's what
and
it is.
The whole idea, especially in the beginning when we're first getting clients, a lot of people say we got paid $1,000. That $1,000 is for us. And then we find out later it's not, right?
Yeah.
That whole $1,000 needs to go into a lot of places. We got to pay for our stuff. We got to pay Uncle Sam. So being able to allocate that before you spend so that you don't get into trouble is so valuable.
Yeah. And also taking the thought of, I'm going to pay $1,000 for a course that I want. I'm just going to use my compensation to pay for that so that I can build my professional development. That's not what we want. We want that professional development. We want any cost in the business to be paid for by the business. So the profit first method teaches your paycheck is your paycheck. That's to go pay your bills, pay your mortgage, like you said, pay utilities, take a vacation with your family, whatever you're going to do, this is outside of business. And so the profit first method really works at the benefit of the owner.
Okay, so let's go back a step and say, like, what are the basic steps here? Because I think I'm going ahead because I know it a little bit already. So what are the basic steps of it? Like, are there accounts you need to use? Like, when should you be moving your money? That kind of thing.
Okay. So the way that the book is written is Profit First recommends 5 accounts, actually 7 foundational accounts. 5 are going to be at your regular bank, and I'll go over what those are, and 2 are going to be at an offsite bank. These are no touch, hard to get to accounts, and I'll explain why you need that. So when you first start out with Profit First, the first thing that you want to do is you want to assess your own business. In order to reach the allocation percentages, and that's what Profit First is, Profit First says, this is your revenue level. This is where you should be operating with your allocations. So you should be allocating 30% to operations, 50% to owner pay, 15% to tax, 5% to profit. Those are targeted allocations. But before we can get there, based on your revenue level, before we can get there, we have to see where you're operating currently. So that's where the instant assessment comes in. And if you're familiar with Profit First, you know that that's the first step to do the instant assessment. The instant assessment tells us where you're currently operating. Most times, this is surprising. I wouldn't say it's bad news, but I would say it's surprising because we don't look at our income. We don't look at the money going out of our business and go, oh, I'm spending 68% of my income operating my business. We don't really do that, right? We're doing the bank balance accounting and we're like, oh, there's money in the bank. I'm probably doing really good right now.
There's still money. We're okay, right?
Yeah, we're okay. Keep the lights on tomorrow. It's great. Yeah. So the first step is we're going to do that assessment. We're going to identify where you are. The second step is that you're going to go to the bank. Well, we say, get your butt to the bank. We want to open those accounts. So 5 accounts, first one being an income account. This is where all your payments are going to flow into. So if you use QuickBooks, like QuickBooks payments, if you're depositing checks, cash into that account, all your processors, Stripe, Square, PayPal, all those deposits into this one account. Typically that you want that to be a checking account. The next account you're going to open is an operating expense account. We call it OPEX. Another checking account, right? And owner's compensation, probably the most important one in my opinion, is a checking account because you want to write yourself checks, set up direct deposit.
My kid likes eating.
Yeah, right. Everyone likes to pay their mortgage. So we're going to set that up, and then 2 savings accounts, profit and tax. And then we're going to go to an offsite account. I use a credit union because it's easy. There's no fees. And I have a checking account and a savings account set up there. So my checking is my tax account and my savings is my profit account. So the tax account, I write my estimated tax payments right out of there. Actually, I have them electronically withdrawn. I don't even think about it anymore. Just 4 times a year, IRS comes in and takes their piece. And then the profit account is where I'm building my reserve. So the way we allocate is, and we can go into that a little bit later, is that you're saving half of your profit allocation every quarter, and you're putting it into this offsite account where you're building the reserves. A healthy business should have anywhere from 3 to 6 months of overhead reserves. That's where you want to be, right?
More is everyone faint in the room. Yeah.
Right.
What?
That's it. But Profit First is built on slow, steady steps. So we're giving an overview today. You're not going right to this. This is a process that can take up to 24 months to achieve these things. So remembering that Profit First is small, steady steps. We start with just 1% at a time, changing the way that we allocate that income. So that was number 2, getting those accounts open. Number 3 is identifying how you're going to roll this out. How are you going to implement this in your business? And like I said, most times when we do the instant assessment, we see 0 profit has been allocated. We're not saving for profit, right? So we're going to use the example of our target being 5%. So we're going to go and we're going to, over a period of time, 4 to 8 quarters, somewhere in that range, and we're going to roll out Profit First. So we're going to start by taking 1% profit. Then the next quarter, we might go to 2% profit. Then the next quarter, we might go to 3% profit, and so forth. And each account builds that way.
It's awesome. I will say that putting that profit aside, like my part of the profit, I was
Yeah.
putting that aside and putting that aside. And then when we went to redo our bathroom, I was like, I have my bonus money here that I could literally go to the store and get the extra fancy tub that we can
Yeah.
now sit in. Like all the, but like that's the kind of thing that you can do because you're putting this money aside and you don't think, oh, I can't use it because this is going to be for OpEx. This is going to be for taxes. Like, you know, that money isn't for any of those things. That money is okay to spend. And it's so much of a mindset shift, I think, because when
Mhm.
you're spending that, you also know that you cannot spend all of your OpEx on your bathroom. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you have those envelopes, those back old school envelopes that you can
Yeah.
really, you know, what is good and what's not. And it helps you
Mhm.
start to make really good decisions in your business.
That is probably my most favorite part of Profit First is that quarterly allocation bonus.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't want money? Who doesn't want extra money you can do whatever you want with?
Right, like, it's freedom. It's like, "Oh, this is for me." And, like, you
Mhm.
can do whatever, and that's, I think, this wonderful thing. It's like you are getting just like you would if you got a bonus in corporate. You're like, "Woohoo!" Like, it's the same thing here.
Yeah.
So, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that, like, you get, like, that extra thing at the end of the quarter.
My clients, I make sure that they share all their profit ones with me, and because this is where we celebrate. This is the reason why we do what we do, right?
Yeah,
Consistent pay. We don't have to worry about Uncle Sam and those quarterly bonuses. Last year, I took my family to Disney World
it's
on
awesome.
my quarterly bonus. I mean, it was the biggest one
Yeah.
I had ever had, and I was after 7 years, and I was like, yes, and I didn't worry about a thing. Actually, came home with some extra
Right,
money.
like, you don't
So
have the guilt and the anxiety of,
nope, nope. We're like, this
like,
is spending money.
someone is telling you it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Another client of mine just took his wife on a 10-day cruise,
That's awesome.
checked out of his business, and went on a 10-day cruise. I mean, that's what Profit First did for him.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, like, it's such a mindset. It really does change it on, like, on its head. Because we always think that we have to reinvest or we can only take out what we
Mhm.
have, or like we're always scrimping and saving, and this really just
Mhm.
allocates that money in a way that you can make the, okay, well, this is how much I have to spend on operations.
Yeah,
So either I have money to go buy that course, or hey, maybe I should stop spending all this money on software. You know what I mean? Like, it really does keep you in a budget, but not in a bad way. Like, it just helps you kind of make decisions on your business. Like, if you're
yeah.
spending 70%, like you were saying earlier, on operations, that means you cannot possibly be paying yourself anything,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Mike uses the analogy of the toothpaste in his book. And what he says is, which makes so much sense, and this kind of opens it up for everyone when they hear this story. When we have a tube of toothpaste and we're going to brush our teeth, if it's a full brand new tube of toothpaste, we're squeezing freely, right? We're putting as much toothpaste as we want on that toothbrush and we're using it, using it, using it. But when we're running out of toothpaste, it's the morning, you've got to go to work, you don't have time to run to the store to buy some more toothpaste. You're cutting the end off, you're rolling it up,
Like
you're cutting
squish
it in
it
half,
in.
you're
Like,
scraping it out, you're doing whatever you have to do to make that toothpaste work. And that's the same thing that relates to the money in our business. When we don't have control, when we don't decide or portion out what we spend, then we're constantly like, it's good, bank balance. I've got money. Let me spend it. Let me spend it. Let me spend it.
mhm.
But with Profit First, you have this allotted amount. So you have to become vigilant about what's in that account. You have to be resourceful with how you're spending your money. We do
Yeah.
expense audits. We look at sales margins. Maybe you need to raise your prices. Maybe we need to get rid of some expenses. Team audits are good too sometimes, because a lot of times we gather a team and they're all great and we love everybody, but maybe that's not the right decision for our business today
Well, yeah,
because
I
of where
mean,
we're at.
this brings in a lot of like what we talk about here in the agency group and in my group coaching, with that, like, my whole thing is being sustainable and profitable. And if you're paying your team all the money that comes in, right?
Yeah.
You sold $1,000 package and now you've paid $950 to the team to do it. Like, you're not making any money. So, like, knowing those team, like having that team audit and knowing what your team's costing you and if you need them or if you could
Mhm.
reallocate resources, that
Yeah.
becomes really important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you make no money. And
That's
we're
right.
not in the business of hobbies, right?
That's
We're in the
right.
business. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're looking at that operating account, and a lot of times more advanced strategies with Profit First is that you would have a payroll account where you'd put in your payroll dollars there, separating it from your operating account. But as long as we're looking at that, then we know it becomes very clear to us, can I afford this? I probably can't afford it if I'm running out of money. If you're trying to transfer money from other accounts, which is against the rules in Profit First, then you probably have to reassess what you're spending your money on. So you mentioned that you do monthly allocation. I wanted to talk about that too.
Okay, go ahead. You're going to yell at me now?
No. So I think this is what's important. A lot of people read Profit First and think, I have to do exactly as this system says. It says I have to allocate on the 10th and 25th of every month. It says that I have to have these target allocations at this. But what I've found in all the years that I've been doing this, and I don't know if I mentioned, but I am a Profit First professional. This is basically what I built my business on. What I noticed is that, not all businesses are created equally. So what we do here is that we customize the Profit First plan for our clients. So like you said, you're a monthly retainer client, right? Your income comes in monthly. So you allocate one time per month. Very similar to my business. We have monthly allocations. Some companies have revenue flowing in. It really depends on the sales cycle, right? How often the money is coming in. So a lot of companies have money coming in all through the month. So a twice a month allocation on the 10th and 25th makes sense, like the book recommends. But then we work with some brick and mortar companies, a lot of construction companies, things like that. They need to be weekly allocators because of the way that their industry is set up. So I think that's important to remember, is that Profit First is the foundation. Like we take the concepts, we know it can make a difference in our businesses, and then we customize it to meet our specific needs.
Yeah.
And that's, I think a lot of people get lost in that if I can't do it exactly as it says,
right,
maybe I shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I basically run my business on last month's money.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever had happened last month, at the end of the month, I move all the things around, and then I run this month on this business. So that way I can pay my people on time. They don't have to wait for my clients to pay me for the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of that month ahead, or which way, whatever way behind, whatever it is. So that for me makes it easier, because I am I'm going to preach to all of you that you should be on top of your finances, but I'm going to admit that I'm not always on top of them, because I'm always, doing a million things. So I've made it to a point where I know that at the end of the month I can do it, and it will be clean and it will be great. When I was doing it all the time, I would forget and it would get messy. So that's, for me, that works. And that's the important thing, right? It's got to work for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how we do it here in my business. Is we allocate on the 10th of the month, and that runs the business till the next 10th of the month. So where our income account is accumulating through those 30 days, and then we do one big allocation for.
Same here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. And it does make managing those finances easier that way.
Yeah, I think that was going to be my next question, because I was on Wall Street for a long time. So not an accountant, but like around numbers. And then you obviously are numbers. She's also the finance coach, the DOO, the Director of Operations program. So she knows really her stuff. So we are numbers people. Mm-hmm. So is this a thing that someone who's not a numbers person can do?
Absolutely. It is. There are a lot of tools out there that will help you do that. There are professionals like myself. You could hire a Profit First professional to do that assessment, create the rollout plan for you. There's Profit First coaching. You can actually have a coach. That's what we do here in our agency. Is we coach Profit First clients. It's a year-long coaching program. There's the book. There's the DIY version. There's lots of resources. There is a fit for Profit First with every company. I've never found a company that this doesn't fit that company. There's a fit for you.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm the one who's like, oh, I want to go. I'm like Scrooge McDucking is what I call it. For any of you older people who remember Scrooge McDuck cartoons, but when he counts his money all the time, I'm gonna go count my money. I'm so excited about it because there's money to pay the bills, right? So for people who are not me and Scrooge McDucking, I know that you have been working on some things to make this easier as well, so that if you are not in a place where you can hire a coach or a full out, person to handle all this for you. I know you've been working on a thing that I'm very excited about hearing about. So what have you been working on to make this easier for everyone?
Yes. So I partner with Kelsey Schmidt, who is a data KPI specialist. She's actually
data nerd.
Amazing. So we have our club. We call it the Nerdy Numbers Girls. You're part of that club, right? Because we just love the numbers. But that is what I found through working with clients, is that there is such a block when it comes to money. There's a fear, and you walk around with the belief that everyone else around you has it together and you don't, so you don't want to talk about it. And the truth is, nobody has it together. Even you and I, there are things we don't have together, right?
Well, that's what I'm admitting. I'm not the greatest all the time with my own stuff, right?
Right. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring a product to the market that would allow all of the Profit First method to be able to be rolled out, that would allow someone that's not a numbers person to enter in some numbers from their financial reports that we show them how to do, and have this whole entire process mapped out for you. So Kelsey and I created a tool called Profit First Simplified. And this tool, we actually just released it. So it's
I'm so excited about this. I've been hearing about this in the background for a while, and I'm so excited about it because I think it's going to be so helpful for people who are not numbers people.
Exactly. And we spent a lot of time bringing this to market. We really did, because we wanted it to be perfect. I wanted to be able to give all the things that I give in my coaching program, all the things I do with my assessment. I wanted to be able to provide that to any entrepreneur at any revenue level, because I believe Profit First is that life-changing in a business. It really is. So we've created this tool, and what it will do is it will walk you through that instant assessment that we talked about. You're going to literally enter information into about 7 fields. That's it. It's going to auto calculate that assessment and tell you where you're currently operating. So how much of your income are you allocating to operating expense? How much are you paying yourself? Have you taken any profit? Have you saved for taxes? This tool is going to tell you that based on the information you put in. Then step 2 is I'm going to walk you through how to implement, how to create the rollout plan. So we may identify that you're operating at 39%. 39% of your income is going to operating expenses. But based on your revenue level, you really should be at 30. So I'm going to show you how to take each quarter and how to decrease that operating expense until we reach our target, which is 30%. Same thing with profit, owner pay, and tax. We're going to increase those accounts. So we walk you through that step. You'll have the complete blueprint on how to make it happen. And then probably the most exciting part about this tool is the allocation tool. So when it's time for you to allocate, and you can choose either twice monthly or monthly when you set up the tool, it will put in the dates for each month for the length of the rollout plan. So if you're doing 4 quarters, it'll put in a year. If you're doing 24 quarters, it's going to put in 2 years, it's going to tell you the date. And then there's 2 simple fields for you to fill in: the date that you actually make the allocation and the amount of money in your income account. And it auto calculates everything. What do I deposit into profit? What do I deposit into tax? How much am I paying myself this time? And what am I operating my company on? And it's highlighted. It's very clear to read, and you're done.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love this. I love this. I've heard this been going on, but I didn't even know what it did yet. I just wanted to have Jenni come in here and talk about it because I think it's so important for our finances. I've had like a wonky spreadsheet for a while that like I'd figure things out, and then so having this like done for you, fantastic.
Yeah, what we did, it's a mini course. The tool's a mini course. So you're going to get videos from both Kelsey and I. We're going to walk you through every single process. There's a extensive workbook that walks you through everything. We've also have some extra bonuses in there, like Profit First friendly banks, because you want to deal with a bank that knows Profit First. So we have a bonus in there for that. And then probably one of the biggest bonuses that we have in the program is your quarterly assessments. So we talked about taking those profit allocations, paying your taxes, doing expense audits, things like that, to make a difference to move to the next step of Profit First. So this quarterly workbook is something that you'll go to at the end of each quarter. You'll work the steps, and you'll know exactly how to go on to the next quarter to be successful with the rollout.
I love it. Like, I shout from the rooftops, not enough, frankly, but all the time. I feel like about having to know your numbers, and that is what makes our businesses successful, is that we actually can pay ourselves. Like, there's so many people that I talk to, especially in like coaching, and they're like, I have no idea how much money I make. And I'm like, if you only make $1 for all this work, wouldn't you rather just go to the beach? Like you
Yeah.
can find $1 in like coins in the bottom of your purse. Like you could just go to the beach for the day. Like why bother with all of this if you're not
Mhm.
going to make some money and you're not going to be profitable,
Or
right?
you're paying someone to work for them, right?
Right.
You don't even make the dollar.
Right.
Like
Like
you're
that's agency. That's what you see a lot with agency. They've hired all
yeah,
these people and everyone else gets paid but the owner
yeah.
who's doing all of this work. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I get a little so I get like, very excited. I want most of us are women here, I think. I think all of us except for Sean. Hi Sean. Um,
Hi, Sean.
uh, um I think that like we get stuck in this kind of martyr thing like, "Oh, it's okay. We don't need to get paid. We're just going to help everyone." And you know what? It's bullshit. Like we need to get paid so that we can take care of our families. That is freedom. We
Yeah.
get to do things in our lives. Even if you take all the money you make and you don't have to buy things, you can go do good things with it, right?
Yeah.
If the world had if a whole bunch of good people had a lot of money, what would the world be like?
Exactly.
Right? Like
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
good things could we do with all that money? So
Mhm.
I love this that it makes it very simple to make some money, have profit, and
Yeah.
you don't need to be a finance nerd like some of us. um, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. And one of the things that is a real game changer too is as you start to do these allocations, you're already used to bank balance accounting, right? You're already used to going into the bank, looking at what's in that one checking account and going, I have money, let me spend, I can spend. But now you're going to go to the bank, you're going to open your bank app and there's going to be those 5 accounts. And it's going to say, this is how much you have in tax. This is how much you have in profit. Oh, you need an extra withdrawal this month. This is what you have in owner pay.
Mhm.
This is what you have left in operating. And as those accounts build over even the first quarter, you just get such a feeling of freedom. Like that stress just drops off your shoulder. Like I don't have to look at my account and think, okay, what do I have coming out? I know I have payroll coming up. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Everything is well organized into each account that it belongs in. So it's just the freedom that you get from now the correct type of bank balance accounting, right? You open it up, see the
Absolutely.
accounts. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and the funny thing is your brain starts to turn off that money, like, it's not available, right? Like, if it's all in one pot, there's a lot of money there. But if you have, $5,000 in a tax account, like, you're not allowed to spend that. So it doesn't even compute that you have that $5,000 anymore. Like, my brain is like, "Those don't count. None of this money counts." And that's
Yeah.
great because I know exactly what does count.
Yeah. And then at the end of the year, especially like we talked about this time of the year, when you're getting your taxes done, I don't know one business owner that didn't always feel that burden. Like, it's tax time. How am I going to come up with that money? What is things going to look like for me? Now you're ready. Like, I'm like, bring it on. What do I need?
Totally.
Here it is. Here's the check. Is there anything left
Right?
over?
Like, you're
Let
so
me check and make
excited to
sure the
pay it
bonus.
because 'cause you're all excited because 'cause you're all organized.
Yeah.
Ops nerd. Uh
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
know if I can even see people. There's some people watching, so I didn't know if anyone had comments or questions. If you do, we have like a minute or two with Jenni here before she gets off. And yeah, like I love this. I love how easy this makes it to be financially secure. And I think that so many of us, especially with COVID and all these things in the world, there is this like unease around money
Mhm.
in so many ways, right? Like when I left corporate, I remember on my last train ride home from the city, I thought I will never make that much money again. And that last year I had made double that. But like
Amazing.
that's a mindset thing to
It's a
be able to
mindset.
get your money organized, be able to spend it the right way, and then be able to kind of allocate and make sure that everything's covered,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's such freedom. Like I can take care of my family.
I know. It might seem, and I want to say, it might seem overwhelming, especially if you're not a finance person, to think through all the things we talked about. Like, I want this, but look at all these steps I have to do.
Yeah.
So I always give this challenge out when I speak to groups or when I speak to clients and say, you don't have to do anything today, but one thing. And this is you're already going to be winning with profit starting today. I want you to save 1% of the next deposit that you have into a savings account. You probably have a savings account. If you have a business checking, likely you have a business savings account. Might not have anything in it, but right? But 1%. Just do 1% and continue to do that with each deposit because you're already going to start feeling that freedom, even if it's small, right? So, say you have
Mhm.
$1,000 deposit. We're asking for 1%. That's $10. $10. Tell me, you can operate, if you can operate your business on $1,000, you can definitely operate it on 990, right? You can
Right.
do that, right? You're not going to feel it. So put the
And
1%
then you could take
in.
yourself out for beer and tacos and be like a big celebration.
That's right. Exactly. See, there's even celebration in small allocations.
See? Always
So
bubble
that's
out of
my
here, Jenny.
yeah. That's my challenge to everyone is do that. Do that. And then once you start doing that, you're going to have the taste of it. Then you're going to want to look more into Profit First. Yeah.
This is so exciting. I will put the link as soon as I get out of here. I can't figure out the two screens at once. As soon as I get out of here, I will put the link in the comments to go check out Jenni's thing. It's called Profit First Simplified.
Yes.
Go check it out. I am so excited to have Jenni here. It's been great to catch up with you and to show everyone else, because this Profit First comes up a lot. So I'm glad you could come in and talk to us about it.
Oh my gosh, Kelly, it's been so fun. Thanks for having me.
All right, we will talk to everyone soon.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for joining me this week. If you have an agency or want to create one, come join my Facebook community, Get Your Agency Together, where we talk all the things growing and scaling your agency. For show notes and more info on all the things, head over to ReynoldsOBM.com. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Reynolds OBM. And finally, if you enjoy this podcast, I would love for you to give us a review on iTunes.